So, tell me a little bit about the film.
Wow, it was very emotional for me to watch this movie because it's so much based in reality. As I talked in the beginning, we had the real guys with us throughout the whole process, and it's based on real stories. And we're grown up in an environment where we see violence all the time, and violence is very commoditized. It's like, oh, somebody killed someone. Oh. It's with us all the time. But this movie is very real. It's like a half documentary, really. And all the stories here are based on reality, and it really just brings the violence perspective or the perspective aspect into a different light. And there are several points in this movie where you can see in the actors' eyes that they're channeling the real people. Where these guys who have never fought a war before, where they have never had to be violent, except maybe after drinking, you know what we do, but not like deliberately going out and killing or hurting people, where they had to make this choice. Where they had to make this choice between themselves or the other person, where they had to make a choice between their own country and the other country. And it really moved me in a different way that maybe I wasn't even expecting now, because it's many years since I watched it. Because this movie is about somebody far away making a grander choice, a grander scheme of, oh, let's invade this country. And then it trickles down the ranks into one singular person looking at another person through a bush or through a forest, and seeing them, looking in their eyes and making the choice of shooting them.
Exactly. Can you talk about the training for the film? Like, how did it affect you?
There was a lot of talks. Fortunately, we had these three of the main characters with us throughout the rehearsal and throughout the preparation. And so I got to learn a lot how it was to be in the war. And my grandfather was in the war, but he got hurt really early on, bless his soul. And he got struck with a lot of shrapnel in his body. So he carried it with him for the whole life. And he never really talked about the war. So having this communication for hours and hours, just talking about him telling my guy, Alan Finnholm, telling the stories, what he went through, was really, really valuable as an actor, to get that real feeling, real emotion of what he went through. Out in the forest, when we were training, preparing for the movie, we had hours of waiting for the sun to be in the right. You saw many of the shots are in the dark, which are actually filmed in the light, but then they just make it dark. But it had to be a certain light, so there was a lot of waiting. So we had a lot of time to practice. So there's a few scenes where I'm really fast with the machine gun. So all of my extra time, I was training on those maneuvers to get them right, because my character was he was known to be one of the best, if not the best, machine gun shot in Finland in that war. So I had a high standard to live up to. So I used a lot of my time to train.
Okay. And the weather, like, wasn't it cold? Really cold?
Well, we're from Finland. What people say cold is like normal. The winter shots were minus 25 to 30. There was a lot of these long night shots that were really cold. One of the major scenes where the Russian attack, it was like in mid-March, when it was February, March, and it was the same night that the US attacked Iraq, 2003. Which also brought a whole different sense of realism into what we were doing, because we knew that on the other side of the world, some people were actually where we were at the same time. So yeah, it was cold, and I remember today when I was walking over here from the center, and wind was blowing in my eyes, and it was like rainy, and I was thinking, oh, this is so crappy weather for 2 seconds. Then I remembered that what I'm gonna come and talk about and show this movie, some people were actually in that for real. Okay, so we were there for 1 night or 2 nights, but some guys were there for the whole winter. They were staying the whole winter, next summer, and then one more winter. and that's just the reality they were in.
We heard that you have an interesting title. Can you tell us about that?
I have many titles in my in my life. I work with a title audiovisual alchemist when I do these kinds of events. I fuse together different media. I'm also I'm a bachelor in I got a bachelor's degree in acting. I'm a Kundalini Reiki master, so I do energy healing. I'm also a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, master practitioner in that. I'm an aerobic instructor or authorized aerobic instructor. I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist. Was this any of these titles that you wanted?
And how do you like the Reykjavik International Film Festival so far?
I like it very much. I like the festival. It's well organized. It's a nice range of different movies, and it seems that Reykjavik or Iceland in general is becoming a more like a hub, a central hub for both experimental movies and also a central hub for international productions, which is really nice because then that's one reason I like it here, because it's a great place to be. There's good water, there's clean air, there's good food, there's great people. It's just nice to be here and a nice place to regenerate and get more energy from.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the film.
Thank you.
And thank you for the interview.